My mother came from Llandudno, an old established Llandudno family. And in 1944, she met my father, and they were married in 1946 after hostilities in Europe had ceased. My father took the family off to London, where I was born. My first couple of years, I suppose formative years, were good. We lived in the bosom of the family there, my extended family, my grandparents. But then we moved up to Conway in time for me to start school here at the age of 5. My first days in the school that was here were a little bit problematic. My father had been a boxer and taught me that even at that early age, if you're going to fight with somebody, get stuck in straight away. On day one, that resulted in a fight on the steps to the school where I was taken before the headmistress. The headmistress, a rather large buxom lady called Miss Jones, admonished me and sent for my mother. My mother arrived and she told my mother quite clearly, "Your son is violent and we're going to beat it out of him." So every opportunity, whenever I transgressed, I was either slapped or smacked. And this made me quite unhappy, and this feeling of rejection. And I thought, oh, well, we've come from London, I'll go back to London. So in my 5 or 6-year-old reasoning, the thing to do was to find a railway track, because that's how we got here, and make my way back that way. Now, to get across Conway Bridge is a problem because you've got a person on the ticket box in those days. However, there was a little gap I discovered in the castle wall between the lower part of the castle and the Telford suspension bridge. And this is only about 2-3 feet wide. And there's some bushes on either side. Now you could snug through there quite quickly. There's a drop down on the other side and a little plate layer's hut between the 2 portals of the tunnel. Well, common sense says you don't want a train coming up behind you, so you wait for the next train to come and then paddle your way through the tunnel. And it was pitch black in there, I tell you can just see the end of the tunnel. But I got through, but somebody must have seen me and reported it to the police. And when I got to Llandudno Junction, there were police officers waiting for me. And police officers in those days were allowed to give you a thick ear before taking you home, which they did, with great enthusiasm, I must admit. And I was taken back to my mum and then brought back to school, which ultimately meant that plan or scheme was a failure and there needed to be a more viable plan put into place. My mother at the time, who filled my head with wonderful stories about the Greeks, the Romans, at that stage was telling me about pirates. She'd also pointed out Puffin Island, and she told me as a small boy that that's where pirates lived. So the next plan was to get a craft and make my way to Puffin Island. So I climbed over the school fence here, and in those days there was a lamp just at the end of the playground wall, so you could climb down the stem of that lamp onto the road outside here in what is Town Ditch, then down the little lane between the trees, and then sneak onto the quay and untie one of the boats. And it was about 12 foot. I couldn't tell you what manner of boat, but it had an engine at the back and a steering wheel. I untied it, pushed it out, and jumped in. And off we were going to Puffin Island, except the tide was going the other way and it went upstream, which deposited me under the old Conway Bridge just in time to be caught by the fishermen who came to reclaim their boat. They were very kind. I didn't get the treatment that I quite expected until I got to the quay, where the policeman took me back home again. And then my father added his contribution to the chastisement for a small boy running off.